This photo on Instagram from Kylie Jenner was actually an ad to register people to vote for the upcoming election in the US. And after she posted this photo, the US online voter registration tool saw an increase in people using that tool by 1,500%.
Just with that Instagram post, she registered about 90,000 people to vote.
Here's another ad to register people to vote from David Dobrik, and this specific ad registered almost 120,000 people. It set a record.
This is now the largest voter registration event in US history.
120,000 people, which is really crazy.
And lastly, here's an ad for voting from a collection of naked celebrities.
I'm naked.
I'm completely butt-ass naked.
I'm naked.
This is my ballot, just got it.
I gotta say, I thought this was pretty weird.
A little bit cringy. Yeah. A little weird.
Yeah.
Celebrities have a history of cringeworthy ads. Like when celebrities come together to make one video, it generally doesn't go well. But it's clear that this election season, more than ever, creators are being called on, they're stepping in and driving significant action from young voters.
So we want to make this video about voting, creators' role in this election, as well as encourage all of you who are US citizens to vote early. That's what we're talking about this episode of The Breakdown.
Make sure to like this video. I'm never good at telling people to like the video. Like,
it's an uncomfortable thing to do.
It's uncomfortable, yeah. Like, if you don't want to like it, you don't have to like it, actually.
Don't like the video. Well, do it, yeah.
Yeah.
Watch The Breakdown.
So to start, why is it that creators are being called on to ask people to register to vote? And why are they being called on more this election season than ever? First off, there's a huge difference between creators and celebrities. Celebrities are like billboards, and creators are like the person in the passenger seat of the car talking to you as you drive by the billboard.
So the billboard is less likely to influence you. The person who's sitting next to you in the car, extremely likely to have influence because you have a rapport. So if creators are like your friend in the passenger seat, they can actually drive a lot more influence and a lot more signups to vote because they're talking to you like they're your friend. And that's one of the most powerful forms of marketing, word of mouth.
Here's a clip from our podcast channel of Samir talking about this.
I believe that all influence and all marketing happens due to word of mouth. There's just things that accelerate word of mouth. And what I mean by that is like, if I tell you, hey man, I just tried this great coffee shop, I believe that you have just become like 80% more likely to go check out that coffee shop. If you see an advertisement for that coffee shop, you're probably like 20% more likely to go there if the ad hits you. Now, if you get both of those, that's when you get 100%. I tell you about it, plus you see the ad, now you're like, I'm in. And so word of mouth, I think, is the most important thing. And vloggers and people who are showing you their life and talking to you on camera, they have that word of mouth relationship with you because they are friends with you. The connection is like, my friend gets dollar pizza here, or my friend gets juice here, or my friend does this thing, but he's not your friend.
He's not your friend.
Yeah.
Creators have a close-knit relationship with their audience, and they understand what will actually get them to take an action. Like with David Dobrik's headcount campaign, he gives away 5 Teslas. That's a David Dobrik content series. Like that's something that he does that his audience is used to, and it always gets them to take an action.
I feel like Elon Musk needs to cut you a check. I feel like you're the unpaid spokesperson for Tesla.
I don't know. I feel like, especially with how this generation is, there needed to be a little bit of more incentive than doing good for your country. So that's how we did the car thing.
A lot of celebrities are just handed the creative and then they just do that thing. They aren't used to actually having to be like an ad executive of like, what's gonna make people take an action.
Celebrities deliver the same creative no matter who the audience is. So there's probably something better suited for Chris Rock's audience or Amy Schumer's audience, but because they're just accepting the creative that they're given, you're not able to actually activate the audience in the best way possible. Creators, on the other hand, make the best content that's suited specifically for their audience. Now, normally in the past, campaigns would look to hold physical events like rallies and concerts to drive voter turnout.
When we were growing up, I remember there was this concert on MTV called Rock the Vote. And it was like a bunch of rock stars. They would play a song and then they would tell us like, go vote.
Who's gonna work tomorrow?
And that made it aspirational for me to grow up and recognize like, it's cool to vote.
Like, if the Red Hot Chili Peppers vote, I can vote.
If Blink-182 votes, I want to vote.
If Shakira votes, I can vote. Although Shakira doesn't vote. She's not a U.S. citizen.
Shakira can vote.
Yeah, well, David Dobrik can't vote.
That's true.
But now with COVID, those physical events can't happen, and the playing field has shifted entirely online.
And something that we've been talking about ever since the pandemic happened is the people who own digital real estate. Basically, if you control a lot of traffic online, you are some of the most valuable people in the world right now. Hence, David Dobrik.
Obviously, we have a much smaller audience than David Dobrik, but even we have staked out a little bit of this online real estate that could have an effect on the upcoming election. Our audience for this channel is 70% 18 to 35-year-olds and 45% in the US. Now, to dig even deeper, the last 365 days, we did almost 38,000 views in the state of Michigan alone. And in 2016, in the state of Michigan, it was a 2% margin that decided the winner. That's 10,704 votes. I'm not saying that we have all 10,704 of those votes watching this YouTube channel right now, but you can imagine, even on a smaller scale, we are speaking to some of that audience that could go out and vote and make a difference. Now extrapolate that to someone at the size of like a David Dobrik. He's speaking to a large group of people in some of these key swing states that can make a difference.
I feel like I have this audience that's like the exact age of like 18 to 23-year-olds that are just old enough to vote, but still are pretty new to the whole voting world and the whole political world, where they're still kind of like on the fence about doing it.
And just to settle any questions if you have of like, man, does my vote really matter? Let me tell you about some things that have happened in the past. In 2018, I'm reading this, so I'm going to be looking over here.
Okay, I'll stare them in the face.
Okay. In 2018, a tie in the Virginia House race became the fourth time a state legislative race was evenly split. A judge settled this race by randomly selecting the incumbent's name from a ceramic bowl. A Mississippi congressional race in 2015 was broken by drawing straws. So basically, the bottom line is your vote matters. Every single vote matters.
For both of us, this will be our fourth time voting, and we've talked about this on our podcast channel. A lot of the passion we have and the excitement we have for voting goes back to that first time and how prideful it made us that we get to actually take part in this process. That's a photo of me on election night in 2008. I have American flag suspenders on.
Yeah, I mean, it's the bottom line is like, it's one of the best parts of living here in the United States is the fact that it's a democracy and we all get to have our voices heard. And right now, it's just more important than ever that we all share this message and that everyone gets out to vote. We're not going to talk about, who to vote for. We're just going to tell you, go vote. That's the important part about being here and being a part of the future of this country. I'm Samir Chaudhry, and I approve this message. Now, here are some errors to avoid if you're like us and you're voting by mail. Number one, your ballot will be disqualified if you use anything but a blue or black pen. So make sure to use a blue or black pen. Number two, don't fill your ballot out on a wet surface. If the ballot is wet, it's disqualified. Number three, don't forget to sign your envelope. Number four, if you use a signature that's different from the one your state has on file, you will be disqualified. So that means you really have to focus, concentrate, remember which signature you had maybe on your driver's license or your state ID, and make sure that your signature is that signature. Number five, you gotta write the complete date. So for example, you can't write like 10/5/20. You actually have to write 10/5/2020. So just make sure to read all the requirements. Some of these vary by state, and then just know when you need to get your ballot in. Again, we put links in the description so that you could check those out and know in your state, what are the requirements and when do you have to get your ballot in. Just read everything that comes on this before you close it. You know what I mean? Ooh, I haven't done that in a while. All right, let's go drop these off. There we go. All right, so at the end of the day, we just wanted to make this video to encourage you guys to vote and to give you all the information. So there's a ton of links in our description that you can go check out if you are registered to vote, how you can vote early, and make sure you have all the information based on the state that you're in to be able to vote.
And if you made it to the end of this video and you're not from the United States, thanks for just being here. Comment below and tell us where you're watching from.
All right, back to our regular scheduled programming after this video. Peace.
Watch the breakdown.
Does it look like a lab coat?
Yes, it does look like a lab coat.
You guys tell me, because that's what Colin's been saying, but
I just see doctor every time I look at
I
you.
just want to hear their feedback. I don't want to hear your feedback. All right, I'll take it off.
Hey, man, you do you. They didn't even say anything yet.
Just kidding.
I got a few things, but if you need $1 bill in your blue jeans, I'ma throw it to you, honey, like I'm Drew Brees. I'm just happy that my crib got 2 cents.